Masechta Sanhedrin, the Chav Zayin Amud Aleph. We're starting from Chav Vav Amud Beis. Itma, the Gemara brings the Gemara now brings a machlekes from when does a Eid Zaymam become Nifsal Eidus? Sagt the Gemara Eid Zaymam that testified Eidus Shak Ben Nisin, and the Eidim that were Mazim, these first Eidim were Mazim Esh B'Tishrei. Abaye Amal Mafreu Nifsal. Abaye says since they were Muslim. Abaye says since he was Muslim and he's nifsal, his Eidos is Apostle Mafreya, so all those 6 months that he said Eidos are Apostle. Rabba says only from here and on, from the date of the Psul when they were Muslim, the Hunif, so that's when he becomes Apostle Eidos. And all the Eidos in the past 6 months are Kasha. Abaye says he's retroactive from the date that he said Eidos. He already was considered as Pasleidus. From the time that he testified, he was already a Rasha. And the Torah says, Al Tashes Yadchaim Rasha. And we dashin, and the Chacham dashin, it's as if it says, Al Tashes Rasha Liyasei, that Rasha should not be aid to testify. So Rabba says from here on, he's Pasal. And since Eid Zaymam is Nifsal to the Eidus of the Mazimim, this whole Eidus Hazama is Chiddush. It was a whole Chiddush. My Chazna Samachta Hani. What did you see to rely on the second Eidim versus the first Eidim? Samachta Hani. Rely on the first Eidim. Who says that the second Eidim is stronger than the first? Rather, it's Exedus HaKasat to rely on the second Eidim and say that the first one are for sure Shakronim. So Ein L'Chabay Yelo Mishas Chiddush. When you're dealing with a novelty, it's not chal till from the Chiddush ve'elichan on. Only from them we consider them as Pasleidus, as Pasleidus, because prior to that, because this whole thing is a Chiddush. Because really, maybe we should be relying on the first Eidim. If you those that say Rabbi Namik Abaye is really Rabbi even holds like Abaye. The Midatira Eid Zaymam is puzzled retroactively from the time that he's testified. Eidus Sheka, he's considered as a Rosh. My Tam, come on, what's the reason that he becomes puzzled from here and on? Mishum say the Lekuchis, because of a takana, because of the loss of the Lekuchis, all these 6 months that they testified, and people bought relying on this testimony, that these Lekuchis will lose. So therefore, the Chacham were Mesakin that they should only become puzzled Mishas Hazam Ve'elach. And through this, avoid a loss for the lekuchis. In fact, you might be what's the chilik between the two reasonings, if it's because of a takanos hachamim or because it's a chiddush. And the chilik will be that there were two against each aid being mazim, two aidim against each aid being mazim. So then it's not a novelty, because 2 against 1, of course, 2 aidim overrides 1 aid, and each aid was muslim by 2 different aidim. So we're not dealing with a novelty. So since we're not dealing with a novelty, so we should say that he's a Rasha retroactively, and his aidus is possible retroactively. But if you say it's not the Takams Lekuchis, so then we'll only say Mikan Laba Inami, or we could say another chilik, be the Paslina Bagazla Nusa, that these first Eidim were not Gipassel to Hazama, it was Gipassel to they testifying that they were Gazlani. Where that's not a Chiddush. Eidim testify in the first Eidim that they're Gazlani. So then they're showing already retroactively, and all the Eidos from when they testified is possible. But if you say mitzvah takonos lekuchis, and they became puzzle 6 months later, so we don't want lekuchis to lose. So therefore we say mitzvah takonos lekuchis mekanu laba. Rabbi Yemi said, "Rabbi Papi of the Kavah said Rabbi Papi paskin like Rabbi that by Eid Zaymam it's not nifsal only from." Mikam Be'elach, Mishas Hazama, from the time that they're Muslim on. Ma'baravashi, says, it looks like Abaye, that Eid Zaymam is Nifsal Lima Freya, retroactively. It looks like Abaye be Yal Kigam, when it comes to Yal Kigam. And amongst the Yal Kigam, you have the Ayin, The ayin is referring to Eid Zaymam, that it's nifsal mafreya, that the halach is like Abaya, that Eid Zaymam is going to is going to be puzzle retroactively, and all the haters that they're going to say in the future is going to be puzzle. Amongst the Yal Kagam, there's a mem, Mumar. There we're going to bring additional machlekes between Abaye and Rava, but the Gedel Psuleides. Mumar, a moment that ate bus nevela because it's cheaper, not because he wants to be made it. He wants to rebel against Hashem. Pashut, a gutay for the meat is 99 cents a pound, and kosher meat is $3 a pound. Divriyakal pasel. Everybody agrees it's pasel. Since he's able on the eastern nevela, bishul revach, because of profit. That bus nevela is found for much cheaper, so he's considered as a rasha because he's lost for money. So if it's for lost, and so then he's pasul retroactively because such a person who has a loss of money, and not retroactively, he's pasul is pasul. But if he's pasul, if he's eating the veil of the achis, despite Hashem says not to eat nevela, and he's eating nevela to go against Hashem, so that's not because of a loss of money. So Abaye, I'm a pasul. Abaye says he's pasul because he's a rasha, even though it's not mitzad lost of money, but the etzem zach that he's eating nevela and it's against Hashem, he's a rasha, and a rasha is pasul. Rava I'm a kosher. Rava says it's kosher because the only type of eidus that's going to be pasul is only a aid that has a loss of money, and we have to be chesed to lie when it comes to testimony on money. Abaye I'm a pasul. He's pasul to have a rasha because it's a rasha. But Achman Haman, the Torah says al tashus rasha that you shouldn't make a rasha as a. But Rava Amar Kasher. Rava says this a person who ate nevelus lahachis despite against Hashem. Rasha lechamis binan. It says that you need a rasha that has a loss of money in order to be pasul, like a gazlan, anything similar. That he's over because of a loss of money, of making a profit of money. Meisrei, we asked like Shaila from the Brais. It says in the pasuk Al Tashus Yotcha, Al Tashus Rasha, Al Tashus Chamas, Lo Gazlanim Umaylim Bishvua. This is referring to Gazlanim and some people who are lying in the shvua. My love, Echad Shvua Yishav. Say if somebody says exists the shvua, a shvua without any reason, like a marble pillar, he swears that it's marble. Or he swears shaka about a marble pillar, that the marble is gold. So in such a case, whether it's a chinam, which has nothing to do with a loss of money or not, the halacha is that the pasul eidus. Says Gemara loy. All shvuis over here, this shvuis that says B'lashon Ramim is talking about shvuis mamei. It's talking about somebody who's lying when it comes to inyan of mamei. What are the full whole bunch of types of shvuis mamei? Shvuis made with mikzah, shvuis eid echad, shvuis shaimrim. And this that he chose shvuis plural, again, shvuis de alma, like I just gave you the three cases of shvuis made with mikzah, shvuis eid echad, and shvuis shaimrim. Meisvei, in fact, Gemara Kasha, Al Tashus Rasha Eid, Al Tashus Chamas Eid, Elo Gazalim Malvei Ribis. It says that who is pasul eidus? Davka Gazlanim, Davka robbers, Davka those that lend money for profits. They're sinning. Such sinners are pasul eidus. But what's if he eats velis just despite Hashem? So the sin is not because of a loss of money. Then he's not going to be pasul. It's a kashan Abaya. Abaya says only any person that is even Aveda and he has a name of a rasha, whether it's a loss of money or not, he's pasul eidus. And here it says only if it's because if he's a gazlan or malvabiribis, only if it's lying when it deals with money issues, monetary issues, is a kasha to yufta. It's taka kasha on Abaya. So the Gemara says the machlekes between Abaya and Rava, you could say is the machlekes of Tanoim. Name it Tanoim. Let us say the machlek is like the machlekes of the Tanoim of the following variety. Eids and the pasul, Eids and the pasul Eids, l'chol dinim ha-Torah kula, for all dinim of Torah. Divrei Hameya. Those are the words of Hameya that are Eids and pasul for all. Rabbi Yosef Ahmed Varam Amorim. Not every case is going to be pasul. If he testified Benegaya somebody's soul of killing somebody. So since he's choshed to testify falsely when it comes to killing a person, then we have to worry that he's going to for sure lie when it's a lenient thing like money issues. But what's if they were huzam by a lighter thing like din and mamanis? Kashli din and fashes. I won't say that automatically he's going to lie when it comes to killing somebody. That's so much more chamor. A person will be afraid over there to lie. Neima Abai Kameya, should we say, let us say that Abai holds like Hameya, that once he's a Rasha, Eid Zaimam, once he's a Eid Zaimam, he's puzzled for everything. Doesn't matter din in the first, din in the mamanis, doesn't matter kula chumra. But Rabbi Rabbi Yasi, and Rabbi holds like Rabbi Yasi, that it does depend. Abai Kameya says, the Gemara explains now more. Abai holds like Hameya, Amirin the kula chumra. Abai holds like a mayor that he says that it doesn't make a difference if he was chashid on even on davar kal as as lying by din mamanis, he's automatically going to be chashid on din nefashis. And like Rava said, once he's a rasha, and he's paslayis for everything. But Rava will say like Rabbi Yossi. He says that once he's chashid on a davar chamor, like din nefashis, he's ready to lie when it comes to killing somebody. Yeah, then he's mulchid. He's suspected by a lighter thing like mamanis. But if he's only suspected by monetary issues, we're not going to automatically say l'chumra. We're not going to say that we're going to be chashud. Says Gemara lie. We're not going to say these two machlekes are identical. According to Rabbi Yossi, everybody agrees, even Abaye, that somebody who's chashul l'davar kal, he's not going to be chashul l'davar chamor. And Abaye that said oich nevelos lahachis is pasleidus, surely he didn't say it according to Rabbi Yossi. Keep pligi alib Abaye. Where are they arguing? According to Abaye, Abaye holds with pshitus ki Abaye. Somebody who's the nachshad, even for a davar kal, he's chashud, he's suspected to lie even by a davar chamor. And therefore, when somebody eats nevelos, despite, which is only ra lashamayim, versus when you're talking about somebody who's chashud on lying on mamin, he's not just ra lashamayim, he's ra lashamayim and ra labriyas. Because when somebody is lying against a person, testifying falsely against a person, he's going against Hashem that the person shouldn't be lying. So he's ra lashamayim and ra labriyas. But somebody only sins lahachis, that's only ra lashamayim. So, nevertheless, Rava says, Ad kan loy kamar Rabbi Hasam, that somebody who's chashul l'kal is also national chamor, el legabe zoymen. And Rava will say that when did Ameya say that one who's chashul l'kal is also national chamor? Ameya only said it by eight zoymam, the mamain, or ra'ashamayim, ra'alabriyas, which is similar to nefashis, which is also ra'ashamayim, ra'alabriyas. So Rava said, since it's in the same gather of being ra'ashamayim, ra'alabriyas, and he has no concern of lying and affecting that it should be bad lashamayim, bad labriyas, so therefore he's chashid even in the nefashis. Only lahachis, only against Hashem, he's not going to be chashid to testify falsely in a case where it's also ra lebriyas. No, when it's ra lebriyas, he'll probably say the truth, and that's why, according to Rava, oichel neveos lahachis is not totally in the machlekes of Rabbi Yossi. He only said his words over there. When it's lahachis, everybody would agree that he's kashleidus. So it's not totally the case of lahachis in the machlekes of Rabbi Yossi. The halacha is like Abaye, that even if one who eats neveles lahachis, just despite Hashem, is pasleidus. How can you say that? We already shlugged up Abaye. That from a Braisa. The Braisa says that Dafka Gazlanu Malbi Ribis, only things that are Gazlan, things that are have to do with money issues, where he's lying about it, or robbing, or lending money with Ribis. But that only there he's going to be pasleidus. It's mashma, but anything other than that, like Eichlin Nevelis, and only Lahachs Hashem, is going to be kashleidus. So the Gemara is going to try to answer, okay, it's a good kasha on Abaya, but it's not really, because Ahin Rabbi Yossi, that we could say, that was following Rabbi Yossi, that he says you don't passel mikal l'chamor. We're not going to passel Eichlin Nevelis because somebody is a gazlan umalva beribis. I'm sorry, somebody, yes. We're not going to say, oh, he's Eichlin Nevelis, he's passel. Rabbi Yossi holds, you don't passel mikal l'chamor. Gazlan umalva beribis is going against a person, it's Ra'al Hashemayim, Ra'al Abriyas. Eichlin Nevelis is only Ra'al Hashemayim. But Abaya holds like a mayor, who argues on Rabbi Yossi, and who says, Rameya says, once he's a Rasha, or he's chashut on everything. And we don't make chiluk in between Kal and Chama. In fact, I hear you. You want to say that Abaya paskin like Rameya, and that Bryce that says only Gazlan and Malvi Ribis is going to be pasleidus. Anything other than money issues is going to be kashleidus. So you want to say that follows Rabbi Yossi. And Rameya holds, it makes no difference. Once he's a Rasha, he's a Rasha. And Abaya holds like Rameya. Let us say that Bryce is Rabbi Yossi. Follows the sheet of Rabbi Yossi. But whenever you have a machlek, Rabbi Yossi, I look at Rabbi Yossi, I look like Rabbi Yossi, which means that only Gazlan and Malvi B'ribis is going to be pasleidus. But anything other than money issues, if he lies about or he does an aveda about, he's kashleidus. So how could be paskin like Abaya who follows Abmeya against Rabbi Yossi if the halach is like Rabbi Yossi? Here it's different. The reason why Abaya paskin like Rabbi because the stam lon tana, because the tana was a stam mishnah, and stam mishnah is Rabbi. Where do we find it was a stam mishnah? It says like the story of Bar Chama killed a person. Amalei Reish Gelus le'Abba Rabbi Yaakov. Reish Gelus said to Rabbi Yaakov, "Puk aye." But go out and check out this incident. If he for sure killed a person, then poke out his eyes. Here we're talking about there's they were mavatal misas baznas manazan. It's umeglech to be mechayv misa, but they have the power to take away his nechasim and to give it to the yarshim of the person he killed. Also, Teresade, I see the Beit of Adekatl. 2 Adam came and testified that Bar Chama Taka killed somebody. Azalil, Bar Chama went. I said, Teresade, I see the Beit of Chad Ma'anach. 2 Adam came. He brought 2 other Adam that testified on one of the Adam that Chad Omar, Kamai Didei, Gana Kabna Chushla. One of them said that in front of me, this aid stole up Yeshelta barley. They took off the shalas from the barley. And one said, in front of me, he stole kata de vurtia, the handle of a spear. Rabbi Yaakov said to Bar Chama, my daita, what's sikhavon in bringing Eidim, proving that they're ganovim? You want to passel the Eidis? Like Rabbi who says, once a person's chashid, a mum and he's possible to testify on Eiz Nefashis. You have maybe Rabbi Yossi, you have a machlekes between Rabbi and Rabbi Yossi. If somebody's chashed on mamain, if someone's puzzle became puzzle on Eiz mamain, whether he's going to be puzzle for Eiz Nefashis. It's a machlekes Rabbi Yossi. I look at Rabbi Yossi that the Eidus of mamain does not puzzle the Eiz from them being Eiz Nefashis. Rabbi Yossi. And Rabbi Yossi Amma, he said, "Who's Medina Mammon is Kashla Medina Fashis. If he's Muslim, Medina Mammon is Kashla Medina Fashis." Amma Papi said to Rabbi Yaakov, "Hani Mili." When he said, the word said that Allah is Rabbi Yossi, Echadloi Sasim Tanakh Meir, in a place where there's no stamish like Meir. Hacha Sasim Tanakh Meir, and that's why you pass like Meir, who says if they were found to be puzzle in money issues. The apostle, or even any issue, the apostle to testify in Eiz Nefashis. In fact, where do you see the Stamish? From where do we see the Stamish? It's like if you can say from this that we learned Nida Mem Testament, base color, whoever is eligible to be judging on din nefashis, roilot and din mamanis, is fit to be done on din mamanis. And we're talking about somebody who's chashed on doing an aveira. Mani, who was this Mishnah learned like? Ilay Rabbi Yasi. If you're going to say it's like Rabbi Yasi, Ha'ika, according to Rabbi Yasi, Eid Zayman the Mamain, Eid Zayman that's caught lying by Mamain, the Kasha Litzarif, Din Nefashis. He's still Kasha to testify in Din Nefashis, who Pasla Din Mamanis. And he's Pasla Din Mamanis. So, but according to what we're saying in the Mishnah, there's no such a thing. If he's kosher l'din nefashis, he's kosher l'lida in din mamanis, but you don't have a case where he's kosher l'din mamanis that he's kosher l'din mamanis, he should be kosher l'din nefashis or vice versa. Elalav, only you have to say Rabbi Meir follows Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir says somebody's kosher l'mamain is kosher even in nefashis, and according to his words, you don't have a case that will be kosher l'din nefashis and kosher l'din mamanis. And therefore, the Mishnah says the klal, whoever is roy to dan din nefashis is roy also to dan din mamanis. It goes together because once you have in one of them a psul, all of them become pasul. So that follows the shita of Rameir. So here we have the stamish Rameir. How do we know we're talking about somebody who was chashed in aveda? Maybe we're not talking about the guy committed the 8 committed aveda. We're talking about when it comes to dan din nefashis. The Torah says, and there's a drasha that the Gemara will bring on Lamed Vav, that a bezdin that's done din nefashis has to be nekim kol pegam mishpacha, has to be clean from any pegam of the mishpacha. So the Mishnah is telling us that mitzad yichus, it's roi to it could be not right for din nefashis, but roi din mamanis, because for din mamanis you don't have to have that they should be clean from any pagam mishpacha, meaning geirim, mamzerim. Okay, because if you're not going to say so, rather you're going to talk about somebody who's the aid is chashed doing an aveda. Sefer Diktani in the Sefer the Mishnah we learn yes, roi ladin din mabnis vein roi ladin din nefashis. There are those that are eligible to be done din mabnis, but are not eligible for din nefashis. Why? Am I in roi? Why shouldn't it be able to be done in the nefashis, which is more chamor? If he's roy for din mabnis, for sure he should be roy for din nefashis. You're going to say the itazim beitin nefashis. You're going to say because we caught him lying as a muzam, hazama. These eidim were muzam by din nefashis. Roy lodin din mabnis. Are they fit to be done din mabnis? Well, the divya hakel, one who's chash on nefashis, and he's a eid zema on nefashis, possible. For sure he's possible in Mamanis. If he's ready to be able to testify and lie about killing somebody, for sure, we have to worry about that he'll lie when it comes to monetary issues. Ella, we have to say psul yuchsinkai. We're dealing with a psul of yichus, like a gero mamzer, who are kasha to be done on dini Mamanis, but are possible in dini nefashis. Achanami psul yuchsinkai. Here too, we're dealing with a psul of yuchsin. So there, that's not a stam mishnah because we're not dealing with a person with an edim being doing an aveda. It's dealing with a whole different topic of yichus. Only here, the following mishnah is the stam mishnah. The Tanan that we learned in the mishnah, a mishnah that we had before, similar, but it's really the mishnah of Rosh Hashanah. These are the edim that are psulim. Somebody who plays dice and lends money and he has pigeons racing or fighting. They bet on who's going to win. They bet who's going to win in either case, or fighting or running. We said Shviyas, business people who do business with the Pedis of Shviyas, Ravadim, which is exactly that the apostle. This is the rule. Any edus that women are not mukasher to testify, so too, all these, the Mesach Bekuvi, Ma'amiribis, Ma'africhayanim, are not kosher to testify. Mani, like who was this Mishnah learned? Rabbi Yossi, if you're going to say Rabbi Yossi, what are you talking about, Rabbi Yossi? Vayikna, edus bedin nefashis, shein ha'isha ksheru lahem. But according to Rabbi Yossi, women are not, we know women are not kosher by din nefashis, but Rabbi Yossi says Mesach Bekuvi, which is possible in Mamanis. because of an Aveda. But when it comes to Dinei Nefashis, they're kosher. So who is this Mishnah talking about? That they're puzzle just like a woman, that even by Dinei Nefashis is going to be puzzle? Rather has to be following Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir says, whoever is considered as a Rasha is puzzle alpha Nefashis. Come, Bar Chama Nashka Akarei. Bar Chama got up because he came since Rapapi Paskind. Like Rabbi Meir, that once he's considered as a Rasha, he's puzzle. To say Edis Nefashis, and therefore Bar Chama got out scot-free. We didn't trust the Edom because they were caught. There were these Edom that testified that he killed. There were other Edom testifying that they're Gazlanim, and once they're showing they cannot testify against Bar Chama, so he came out a winner. So he kissed Rapapi's feet, and he accepted upon himself to save him from a head tax for the rest of his life. These are the relatives who are disqualified. One's brother, his father's brother, and his mother's brother, his sister's husband, his father's sister's husband, and his mother's sister's husband, and his mother's husband, his father-in-law, and his brother-in-law. All these are disqualified. They, their sons, and their son-in-laws, and his stepson alone is disqualified, but not the stepson's son or son-in-law. Rabbi Yesi said, this Mishnah, this is the Mishnah of Rabbi Akiva. But an earlier Mishnah said his uncle, meaning his father's brother, his uncle's son, and all who are eligible to inherit him are apostle. And all those that are related at the time, either at the time of the witnessed, when he witnessed the event at that time, they were relatives that the testimony took place in Bezdin, are disqualified from testifying. Meaning, but if he got divorced later from the woman, or the woman died, so then he's no more karev, but that happened after. But at the time of the testimony, he was married to her. Oh, you could have been a kosher if he was related and then became unrelated. So he brings you the case, like I just said, that a son-in-law whose wife is now dead, he's no longer related to his father-in-law, so he can now testify for his father-in-law. So that's the case of Rabbi Yehuda says, even if one's daughter died, but if his son-in-law has children from her, then he's considered as a relative. One's close friend and one's enemy are also disqualified to judge or testify about him. What is considered a close friend or enemy? Says the Gemara, a friend is one's groomsman. So a close friend in those times would bring gifts of food and drinks to the wedding of his friend. That was like we learned before this minhag. So the groomsman is disqualified throughout the days of the wedding of the feast. Or of the wedding feast, we'll call it. The wedding Suda. An enemy is anyone who did not speak with his friend for 3 days out of hatred. They said to him, the Jewish people are not suspected of this, to bear false witness about someone out of love or animosity. We're not going to say that the Chachamim said back that we're not going to believe that just because he loves him or he hates him, he's going to testify falsely. Meaning they didn't disqualify a person from testifying simply because he has feelings of hate. But they do agree that a person's enemy cannot judge him, since such a judge is incapable of finding ways schusim for the person, for the litigant.